Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking, or Lance Mikester as you might know me. I am here to tell you all about a game called Summoners, and because I'm not holding up a box, you can probably guess that Summoners is a game that is actually, I believe, in Kickstarter right now. Now, followers of my channel and my video blogs and my podcasts and what have you may or may not have heard the story about how I was almost a Magic the Gathering player slash fan slash expenditure of huge amounts of money for decks upon decks of cards. Basically, when the game came out, I was around for the moment when the game came out, and it was virtually impossible to get a hold of any cards, any decks, anything. And I had one buddy that had, you know, like 200 cards, and he couldn't get any more either. And because we live in the middle of nowhere in North Dakota, and so we played his all the time, and then I put my order in, and I waited and 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 waited, and then like months down the line, the cards eventually just never showed up. Well, actually, no, I got a call that they showed up or whatever, and at that point I had like discovered girls and beer and what have you, and so I never really got into Magic the Gathering. Now, that being said, the reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm kind of glad because I didn't, because obviously that would have maybe, not that Magic the Gathering is a bad game. I mean, I talk to players of it constantly, and they love the game, and I'm intrigued by watching them create their decks and what have you. But who knows what I would have done and would I be doing this, but I really like the whole mechanism of Magic. And I enjoy games that replicate that type of feel of a game. And Summoners is just that kind of game. Summoners pits two wizards or two summoners of creatures against each other, and the last one standing is the one that wins. Now, if you have like two sets of it, you'd be able to play teams or for all against all and stuff like that. But the game I have, the prototype that I have, actually only came with 2 of the 4 wizards that are going to be in the game, as I understand it, when it comes out. I have the Necromancer and the Elementalist. And the Necromancer obviously summons undead, and the Elemental summons elementals. Yes, you are correct, you there in the back in Ohio. But, so I'm going to show you how to play the game. It's not going to be all that tough to learn, especially if you are familiar with the CCG format of games like this. But there are some cool little nooks and crannies, and just as far as like the tactical side of it is something that I've really enjoyed playing. And plus, my daughter has taken to it quite well as well. So all those reasons why I'm really enjoying it. So before I go even further, the reasons why I like it, let me go ahead and show you how to play the game. Shouldn't take too long, and then we'll go ahead and we'll come back here in my gaming dojo here, and I will tell you exactly why I've been digging playing the Summoners, if you will. Alright, cool. Here we go. Alright, this is Summoners, and as always, I'm going to be showing you a prototype of this game, so whatever you see in front of you may or may not be indicative of what the game will look like when it is published, and there may even be some slight gameplay portions of the game that will be different as well, so please take that into account as I show you how this game works. You have the 2 different Summoners. You have the Elementalist and the Necromancer on either side. You have their possible summoned creatures on either side as well. And I'll just show you quick one of these 2 cards here. The Necromancer, just on the card itself, you can see the Necromancer has the summoning the animate dead, and then here are their abilities, and like Flesh Rot, and you can see this little symbol here. It might be tough to see, but you have this little symbol with the little hand there. That is like the amount of power that it takes to activate that particular ability. And you can see this little track right here. Each turn, this increases by 1, and then this uses up that power over here. And so and then you just deduct it. You just automatically use it when you do it. So like you can see Flesh Rot, you can just do 1 damage to the opponent. The Soul Shift, you can transfer up to 3 damage from the Necromancer up to one of his summoned pets. So if the opponent hurts him, he can just transfer it over so he doesn't take it. And then bring one of your Skeletal Warriors back from the graveyard and put it into play with haste. Once per game and only on your turn. And haste is, as you can probably guess, the ability you summon it and they can immediately attack at that time. And here we have just the health bar, and it starts at 20 and then works down, and if you can get healed, it goes back up, obviously. So, pretty straightforward. Why don't I show you the Elementalist too while we're at it, just so you can kind of see what we have here. The Elementalist, obviously, the summoning skill is Call Elemental. Same deal, same track. But here we have the abilities of the Maelstrom. The next Elementalist pet summoned this turn gains haste. The Inferno, deal 2 damage to all opponents' pets in play. Pretty good power, obviously. And Mana Pool passive, flip 2 Mana Gem cards over on your first turn. Now that actually ties very well into showing you how to play the game. Let me just go ahead and place those back on there like so. You have 2 decks of cards. This is your spell deck and this is your Mana Pool. Your Mana Pool is just these cards that say gain 1 Mana Gem or gain 2 Mana Gems. Now, there's no real gems that you collect, if you will. I'm not collecting beads or anything like that. That's just the mana that you can use on your turn. You can use up all of it or none of it, and then you get to turn one of these cards over. When you at the beginning of each turn, and eventually you'll have all of these cards turned over. And so, like you can see, there's 2 here that have 2, and then so that's 4 of it, and you can see then there are 6 that gain 1. And so you're going to have a total of 10. If you survive that long, you're going to have a total of 10. They're the exact same cards for the Necromancer as well. And this is just basically the standard. You're going to tap it to use those powers. Now, most of like the spells and things like that, unlike except for like summoning spells, obviously, are things that are instant casts that you can use to interrupt when somebody tries to do something to you, or you can use them to alter things. At the start, however, I'm going to shuffle these again, because obviously I saw what all these were. So there we go. That's a really silly thing. I should shuffle them face down. So there we go. So each person is going to have that, and then they're going to have their deck as well. Now, the deck obviously has like certain abilities, like Elemental Gauntlets. It's a direct spell. Target gains 2 attack until end of turn. So a direct spell is something you do in your turn to obviously strengthen that particular creature. Let's see if we can get an instant spell. This is one that you can use like at any time. Deal 3 damage to opponent's summoner and or target pets divided how you choose. So you can just, once again, just do that automatically. A direct spell, this is something where your opponent must reveal the top 3 cards. You could read this. But the top 3 cards, and discard 1 card of your choice and place the remaining cards on the top of their spell deck in any order you choose. So you can kind of mess with how their deck is going to work for them and things like that. So, and then, obviously, there are creatures you can summon. So here we have the Earth Elemental. And then the Earth Elemental, you can see the attack grid, so it can attack in these directions around like so. And then you can see that it has a movement of 2. You can, by the little feet there. It has 4 health. It has a damage or attack value of 2. And it costs 2 to activate or to summon, 2 mana to summon. So like there's the Fire Elemental, and so some of these direct spells like this Astral Shift spell costs 8, but you just destroy 2 of your opponent's pets, and so there are things like that. So the big thing is that the monsters will have a little chart down here saying how much health they have, and even though they can have a maximum of 6. Even though it starts with 4, so that you can heal it or strengthen it, you can get it a little higher. So it attacks all enemy pets with 1 square in both horizontal and vertical spaces. So it attacks all of them that are around it. And Earthquake, deal 1 damage to opponent's summoner when the Earth Elemental enters play. So when he just comes into play, he actually will hurt the Necromancer. And so, and different, monsters do different things. Here we have the Fire Elemental, costs 3. 2 health, does 3 damage, attack grid is 2 forward, like that. Attacks all enemy pets within 2 spaces in front of him, and then the haste, the Fire Elemental may move and attack on the same turn that they are summoned. So, different things like that, and different powers, if you will. Now, obviously, the 2 different summoners play very differently. As I said, the Necromancer gets the exact same deck of cards with the Mana Gems, if you will. And so that's pretty standard. But they have the Necromancer plays differently, as I said. So here we have attachments. So attachment, as you probably guess, you attach that to a pet, if you will, and then you can notice the pets of him are they're a little more brittle in some cases, but and they don't move as fast, like, you know, because they're skeletons or whatever. But notice how the attack grid attacks a single enemy pet within one space in all directions. So unlike those others who were attacking everything in those every one of them that was around it, this one only attacks one, but it's more versatile, and it can attack everywhere around. Now, the one thing about when you move on the board, and this is like you summon on the base in front of you, and if you can get your monsters to the other side and they do attacks, they'll do attacks directly to the mage. As you move, they're always facing the opponent. You don't turn them around or anything like that. So you have to take that into effect. They can move, you know, in any direction, but, you know, you have to be cognizant of where their attacks are going to be happening when they occur. And so, and here we have swiftness. Add 1 to this pet's movement for each additional Necromancer pet in play. So, you know, there's as with any good CCG format game, there's cards that affect cards, and so on and so forth. And so here, let me find another cool, so like here's the Commander of Bones, obviously a bit more powerful, if you will. He attacks all enemy pets within one space in both horizontal and vertical directions. And the Commander of Bones may move and attack on the same turn he is summoned. Let me show you my favorite guy that we have on this one, and that is the Shadow, if you will. Of course, I know I gotta find one. Okay, yeah, here we go. The Soulless Shadow. So here we have the Soulless Shadow. You know, cost 4. He has 4 health and does a damage of 4. The attack grid is cool. Attacks a single enemy pet within 2 spaces in a horizontal or vertical direction, and then enters shadows. For 3 power, the pet may not be attacked by any pets until the start of the next turn. So you can just use that power. You can get him someplace if you have enough mana. You can do an attack, and then you can hide him. And so then he can't be attacked and killed by somebody else. So I like the Shadow for that reason, obviously, because he's evil and powerful. And so, you know, and then here's a healing spell. Mend Bones, cost 2, direct spell, target gains 2 health. So, pretty standard, right? Like I said, if you've played a CCG, you will recognize that. Now, as you might have guessed, or might have noticed, you have these monsters over here, the summoned elementals down there. They're the yellow ones. And over here we have gray, and we have 2 different colors of gray. The reason for that is that the monsters that he sent me for, the designer sent me for the Necromancers, some of them did not survive the trip. And so I have actually substituted the ones for like from my own miniatures just to summon. So like there's supposed to be like 4 skeletal warriors and 2 skeletal knights, and so I've just substituted some of my Reaper Bones minis for those instead. So don't, if you see these, those are not, the lighter ones are not the miniatures that you'll be seeing in the game itself. So just a quick little rundown of play. On your turn, you will flip over, you know, what you get. So like in this case, you have on your turn you flip one over, and so you have gain 1 mana. So when you tap that, you can go ahead and put that over there. When you tap it, you'll do that. And these, they don't go away as the game progresses, and this game ramps up quickly, so you gain more and more power. You'll flip the cards over more. To begin the game, and I should have done this, each player gets 4 cards. And then they'll look at their cards, and if they don't like what their cards are, they can, you know, ditch them, and then, you know, get new cards like in one time. You can shuffle up your deck again and draw 4 cards to get a deck that you actually like. But in this case, so like the character would say, okay, well, on your turn, you have to follow a very simple progress as far as what you do on your turn during a game of Summoners. On your turn, you will reset any mana gems that you had used up, prior to that beginning of that turn. And then you gain an ability point over here, so you just go ahead and push that up to 1. So now you have the ability to do 1 ability. And then you draw 1 card from your deck. There is no maximum hand size, so don't worry about like, oh, you know, I've got to use a card to get a card, so we draw 1. Here we see we got, you know, flesh armor. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then you flip over one of their cards from the mana deck, and then eventually you'll have 10. Now, I've already obviously done that or whatever. And so then you have to figure out a way to use up the mana that's at your disposal. You don't have to use it all up if you don't want to. I mean, you can save some, obviously, to use your instant interrupt spells and things like that. But in this case, you just want to go ahead and, like, we want to get this Skeletal Warrior out. And so we will tap, as they say, the mana. We'll just go ahead and put that down there to say that we got the Skeletal Warrior. We'll take the Skeletal Warrior, and we'll go ahead and, like, place him right there. We can't move him because he's not hasted in any way, shape, or form, so we just put him there, and then we turn over, and then we put our cards down, and then the next player will go, oh, and make sure you always take a marker, and you look at the health, they have 2 health, and put the health on the creature like so. And then, I forgot to even draw the top 4 for the Elementalist. So the Elemental draws their top 4, and let's see if we got anything we actually like. So, Healing Potion gains 2 health. So, it's kind of a crummy draw because we don't have anything we can summon. So, you know, maybe in this particular situation, the player would have redrew or shuffled their deck and drew a new 4. Let's see if we get better luck here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Take the top 4. And let's see if we got better luck here. And we got some Elemental Gauntlets. And no, we didn't actually get luckier, so we're not, that's no good. But, oh well, we will do we get to increase it by 1. The Elementalist, because of their innate power, gets to take 2 of their cards to start with. So we got gain 1 mana gem, gain 1 mana gem. We have 2 of those are 1 each, so they have 2 mana at their disposal. And we draw another card, and oh look, we got lucky. We got a Water Elemental. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and summon that guy. We're going to go turn those like so, and as you can see, the Water Elemental summon 2, and then the Water Elemental gains 1 health whenever another Elemental enters play, so we got to remember that for when that happens, and attacks the enemy within 1 space in all directions. So we got to go ahead and get the Water Elemental, which is this guy. Now, these minis, like I said, they're not as defined as possible. I'll show you some pictures of the minis actually in just a second, but you know, so that is something to keep in mind, and you can go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page. Actually, it has those as well. So you place the mini down, you can't move them, and so then we go ahead and make sure we put our summon creature down like that, and then we go over to the other player. And so now they're going to do the same thing. They draw a card, and maybe they're going to cast a spell, maybe they're going to do damage. I mean, the big thing is that with the Flesh Rot ability, the Necromancer could just say, okay, take a damage. Bam! The Elemental, since they can like heal it or something like that, is going to take a damage, because that's one of their abilities. Direct, deal 1 damage to the opponent's summoner. Every time they get up to 2, they can do that. It's just kind of like one of those constant things that they can do. I'm going to show you, like, for combat, it's pretty simple. When you are able to attack with a creature, like that it's in the spot. In this situation, like, remember the Skeletal Warrior attacks anything around them. You can just say, I'm attacking that particular Water Elemental, and then if the person that's attacking them is in the same, in their attack range as well, they will counter as well. And so in this situation, both of them do 2 points of damage, and the Water Elemental has 2 health, I forgot to put that on there, and they would actually take each other out. Now, the neat thing is that if you have monsters and like that are actually, you know, have a different attack spot, like let's say we had this Fire Elemental. Remember, the Fire Elemental attacks straightforward too, like so. So if we had the Fire Elemental, and let me grab a Fire Elemental here. No, that's not a fire, sorry. There we go. So in this situation, maybe they're like this, and the Fire Elemental would attack. He would go, okay, I attack straightforward too, like so, and then the damage of the Fire Elemental is more than enough. It does 3. The Skeletal Warrior has only, so they get knocked out and they go into the graveyard of the character. And normally, like, the Necromancer can summon monsters of the graveyard, but most of them can't. So that would kill it and take it out. And because it can only attack around it like so, it can't counterattack and do damage to the fire elemental. So the attack ranges of the creatures is very important when playing this game. The game obviously just continues until one person is able to kill the other one. You don't get to shuffle up your deck again. So once you're out of cards, you're out of cards. And the thing is that if you actually get to the point where you have no monsters on the board, and you don't have any cards, you just start taking 3 damage. So like the game ends basically. So if you run out of cards and you run out of monsters on the board, you basically lose the game in that situation. So there you go. I mean that's a pretty bare bones description of how to play the game of Summoners. Let me tell you more about the game and my thoughts about the game in my conclusion, which I'll do right now. Oh wait, I told you I'd show you some pictures. So here we go. This is a accurate representation of what the miniatures are going to look like. These are the molds, if you will, and these were sent to me by the designer. So you can see the Skeletal Knight, the Soul of Shadow, the Bones, and Commander of Bones, and the Skeletal Warrior. Obviously this is a picture of it, but that is what the molds are going to look like. And here you go, and that is the elementals, the Earth, Fire, Water, and Arcane. So I just wanted to make sure you got a good look at that. And like I said, if you want to check out more pictures of that, you can definitely do that at the Kickstarter page. Okay, now I'll tell you about the game and my conclusion. I wish somebody had a camera on me, like a fly on the wall, if you will, when I opened up the box that I got with the game. And the designer of the game had said, hey, I actually went out and I did some 3D printing to make those monsters for you, the summon monsters for you. You know, I'm a little bit worried, he said, that the skeletons might be a little brittle and they might fall apart. So let me know if anything happens. And so, well, I'm not. I literally opened up like the bag that was going to have the Skeletal Warriors and the Skeletal Knights, and it was just like skeletal droppings. Come on, I mean, like just like a handful, and I was just looking at it like. But as I said when I showed you how to play the game, I backed the Reaper Bones Kickstarter, both of them actually, and gave them a ton of money, obviously, to get some cool minis, and so I had more than enough stand-ins, if you will, to be able to play the game. I showed you how to play. Like I said, it isn't super difficult, you know. But the thing is, it isn't. I think that's why it's fun. The whole point is that it isn't super difficult. So then the mechanisms are kind of like learned in like that very quick uptake, if you will, when you get the game, and then you can actually start enjoying the game. And that kind of goes a little bit against what I normally feel about games. I'm an explorer of games. I enjoy, you know. What would happen if I did this? You know, that kind of mentality, and I enjoy that portion of it a great deal. Now, and you get done exploring this game pretty quickly because of the fact that you only have the finite number of spell cards that you have, you know, and so you kind of learn the strengths and weaknesses of the sides, the Elementalist, and I really wish I could see the other two. I mean, theoretically, when the game, you know, I'm going to back it, and so I'm going to get a copy, so I'll see those. But you know, so I can. But when you have that, you know what you're going to be facing. You know what kind of cards they're probably going to have, and then they know what cards you have, and so you can start, you know, playing the game within the game, if you will. And I think that's where games like this really shine. Obviously, the appeal of this is that you have a quick little half-hour skirmish, tactics, magic type game with all the fun of that type of game without the the CCG format, if you will. And I've actually played this with a couple of Magic player friends that I have, and they've remarked that it's actually, you know, quite fun. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the depth, you know, with the, like, creating your deck and everything like that. But, you know, they like the core concept, and they had a lot of fun playing it. So, for all those reasons and more, and obviously, like as I said, my daughter's been playing it with me, and it's a little bit of coaching, kind of getting her to understand the cards and what she can do. But, you know, I really have enjoyed watching her kind of grasp She doesn't want to play the elementals either. It's kind of cute. She wants to play the evil skeletons, and she's had a lot of fun taking it to her dad, playing the game as well. So for all those reasons, Summoners is just a really fun game. And I think if you like the whole fantasy theme, if you like the whole CCG format without having to play a CCG, that sort of stuff, I think you're going to really want to check this out and back it and get a copy for yourself. So if you have any questions about Summoners, please ask away. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this thing that I do. And until next time, this is me in my gaming dojo here in Moorhead, Minnesota, telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.